Good morning to our KN 500 students. Welcome to our remote virtual session for Component B. I'm Reynaldo Castro and I'm in charge of your session today. Um, so let's start. Sige. Let's start with a prayer. Let's put ourselves in the presence of the Almighty. Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Most gracious, loving, and heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day that you have given to us for our remote virtual session today for our KAID 500. We thank you for the opportunity, notwithstanding our situation. We still continue to pursue our desire to get a degree in the university. We also ask you to bless us today for our session. Bless our faculty, bless our family. Please continue us to shower, to clothe us, your protection and safety and guidance. All this we ask and thank you to Jesus' name, our Lord and Savior, with the intercession of the Holy Spirit, one God now and always. Amen. Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, good morning once again. Let me share my screen. All right. So, as I said, this is our KAID 500 and this is the component B no of KAID 500. Your KAID 500 is a unique course offered by the University of Mindanao. Why I said unique? Because you cannot find this in other university. The purpose of offering KAID 500 or career education a course to our senior graduating students, but we understand that there are also probably junior students who are enrolled in KAID 500 this summer. The purpose of which is to help you bolster your chances of getting the job that you want, no? Because in your regular courses for your specific program, you are trained, no? Your competence as regard to your specific program, you are trained for that. For example, if you're into engineering, so the courses, the subjects that you have there in engineering are all about, engineering for you to become an engineer someday, no? Successful engineer. But the thing there is that there is no specific course in your curriculum other than your KAID 500 that will help you land the job or the employment that you wish to have in the future. So that's the purpose of our KAID 500 today. And another unique practice that we have in KAID 500 is that the course is offered in three tranche. No, there are three components. One is handled by the Guidance and Testing Center, and that is 30% of your grade. Most likely, the first 2 weeks of the classes, you are with the guidance and testing center. So your professor, your teacher, your in charge, your coordinator is somebody from the guidance and testing center office, no? Component B and C are handled by the External Relations and International Affairs Office. That's why you have another professors, another coordinators following you, no, giving you instructions in the LMS. And I'm handling for the seminar part of both component B and component C. Your component B is 30% of your grade while your component C is 40% of your grade. So in case after your summer class, no, you receive an incomplete grade in your KAID 500, then probably you have to check, no, whether it comes from component A. Maybe you have some requirements that you have not complied in any of the components that makes you incomplete in your KAID 500 course. So you have to make it sure that you have attended all, no, components of your KAID 500. For our topic, for this is how you are being assessed, no? For component A, for component B, and for component C. Well, for component B, the bulk of your grade comes from your attendance today. So make it sure that you have attended, no, the seminar. And if you have classmates or friends who are not present today in the morning session, there's another session in the afternoon. Okay. And I think we are also live in our YouTube channel in the University of Mindanao because we can only accommodate 100, no, in our Zoom account. So for those who cannot connect to our Zoom account, then you can still watch in our YouTube channel, no, and message there from what code you belong so that our KN 500 facilitators can take note of that and can record in their record, no, in the record that you are present in the seminar. 30% each for application letter and resume, and there will be some coaching session. For component C, we'll have another seminar and a mock interview that's 40 points. Take note of that. You will be required to submit a sample career portfolio that's 35 points. And then there will be a culmination program that's 20 points. So take note of the distribution of your grade so that you will not miss any of this, no? And at the end of the summer and at the end of the course, you will receive a complete grade. For our session this morning, I'm going to talk about three things. One is how are you going to write a winning application letter and resume? And second is how to ace in your job interview. And take note that writing a winning application letter or cover letter and resume are prerequisite for you to proceed to the next stage of the application process, which is job interview. And job interview in most cases is the deciding factor of the hiring officer or the hiring committee, no, hiring panel, whether who among the applicants deserve to be hired for the position. And third, special topic that I'm going to discuss is social media etiquette. Okay, so let's talk about why write a cover letter or application letter. You write an application letter to show your communication skills, no? Particularly your writing skills, because KAID 500 students, regardless of your program, regardless of your course, regardless of your career, there will come a point in your career, no, in your profession, that you are going to communicate, that you are going to write. And writing your application letter, submitting your application letter is the first gauge, is the first step for the hiring officer to assess whether you fulfill this particular competence. No? The second one is to highlight the purpose of the letter and introduce the writer or applicant to the reader. No? You introduce who you are. You're giving now an idea, a reason for the hiring officer to proceed to your other documents, probably your resume, all right? Whether there is a reason for me, if I am the hiring officer, whether there is a reason for me to proceed reading, no, continue reading your documents after reading your application letter. The other one is to give, yeah, I already mentioned that, no, to give the reader an idea whether to continue reading the rest of the documents or not. So how are you going to write a winning application letter, no? This is a technical writing. You don't need to be verbose. You don't need to be literary. In your style of writing, probably we have participants today, KAID 500 students who are from AB English or from Education in English. And your leaning is towards writing literary pieces, all right? Literary content. Application letter is not a literary piece. It's a technical piece, no? So which means that you write in a technical manner. So how are you going to do that? Well, you have their heading, inside address, no? Now in the inside address, it must be complete, no? You have to write there the name of the addressee. If you do not know the name of the addressee, then you have to take extra effort by, calling, giving a ring, no? Giving a call to the company and ask to whom you can address your letter or your application letter. Okay. And then the position. Never forget the position. You have to mention the position of the addressee. Again, kung hindi niyo alam, then you ask ano ang exact position ng addressee. Kasi mortal sin yan, no? Kung hindi nyo na isulat ang posisyon niya kasi hindi kayo nag-research, hindi kayo nag-exert ng effort. Now, next is business name, no? company name or organization's name, and then address. Okay. Salutation. You have to be formal sounding in this part. Do not use dear, because again, application letter must be corporatist sounding, must be technical, no? Technical in nature. So writing dear diminishes the formality or the formal tone of your letter. Okay. So do not write dear. You go straight Miss Santos. All right. Introductory paragraph. Now, in the introductory paragraph, you state how did you get to know the information about the job opening and mention your interest for the position. No, why is it that you have to mention the information? Because that's very interesting to them. No? They are very interested to know whether, especially if they have done massive information dissemination, and they want to know whether that massive information campaign is effective or not. Okay, so mention that. Or if somebody informed you, told you that there is somebody, no, inform you, somebody from the organization or from the agency who shares the information to you, and that's how you get that information, and then your interest for the position. Okay, the middle paragraph, no, parang middle kingdom ng Lord of the Rings. Middle paragraph, this is where you describe your qualifications, who you are in terms of fitting in yourself to the requirement of the position. So describe your qualifications, point out any related experience you have, maybe from your OJT or your professional work. Sell your skills and knowledge relevant to the position. Do not say anything that is not required, no, or that is not mentioned as a function for the position. All right. Then you have their closing paragraph. You close by thanking the reader and requesting an interview. No, you open doors for interview. So, for example, you would say, "I wish to discuss my qualifications and interest for the position with you at your most convenient time." There, you can write your contact number and your email address. No, and then you thank the reader for the time and consideration. Make it sure that the number and the email that you have provided are functional emails and contact number, okay? And then you have their complimentary clause. Akin to dear, no? Kaya wag yung dear kasi Tagalogin mo ang dear, minamahal kong Miss Santos, no? Friend di ay mo ni Miss Santos, no? Close di ay mo, di ba? So akin to the salutation, you have to be formal sounding, no? I mean, you have to maintain the formal tone in your complimentary clause. So do not say very truly yours, because Tagalogin mo ang very truly yours. Ako'y iyong buong buo. So again, it's not formal, you know? O di ba? Hindi siya pang application letter. So you can write there respectfully or sincerely, no? And then your name and then your signature. Oh, ayan. So with that, that's simple but lucid and substantial, no, style of writing, no. I mean, what the hiring officer is expecting from you as an applicant is there, no, no frills, no excess, all right, no literary pieces, all right. Hindi siya masyado madrama, hindi siya OA pagkasulat, all right. So it has to be technical. Okay, so there is another example here. This is submitted by one of our KAID 500 students last year. Uh, so you have there Mr. Dexter Baluran, human resource staff. No, uh, you have to know, as I said, because each company, each organization, they have protocol to whom you can address the application letter. You have to know that, no, because doing that will give you a competitive advantage. I mean, it will give you a plus points. The fact that you have exerted effort of knowing to whom you can address the letter. No? So there you go, Mr. Baluran. Then I would like to apply for internship in the medical psychiatric department to join your esteemed organization. I saw a listing advertised on your official website searching for job.com about your company need of interns. So the criteria or the things that I have mentioned, like number one, how did you get to know about the information, and that your interest of applying for the position are all there, no? And then you have there, I'm graduating student taking a BS in psychology at UM. I have 1 year experience of being a previous officer in our program's academic organization, and 3 years of being a president of a classroom officers that helped me to have an excellent teamwork skills. So what the applicant is trying to highlight there in the application is his leadership ability, is his leadership potential and experience. No? And then the third paragraph herewith attached is my resume. I would love the opportunity to share my counseling skills and caring nature with patients of SPMC Institute of Psychiatry and Behavioral Medicine as your intern in the Medical Psychiatric Department. Ayan. I wish to discuss my qualifications and how I can contribute to your institution at your most convenient time. I can be reached at the number or through my email. All right. Kailangan kasi yung email, no, because it's a professional sounding thing, no. If you have your email, all right, and then you have sincerely your name and then your signature, 'di ba? So the criteria, the ingredients of a technical style, no, and a winning cover letter, writing a winning cover letter are all there. No? So very simple. No frills, no literary pieces, all right? No excesses. Next up is your resume. So partner talaga yan ng inyong application letter, ang inyong resume. And it says here that the resume is your personal brochure to market yourself. It should give your potential employer a quick view of what you can do for them. For our students, please, if you have questions, then you can write your question in the Q&A for those who are in Zoom. And for those who are watching our YouTube channel, you can type your question there in the chat box in our YouTube channel. Okay, let's go back to this resume. So it says here that it's your brochure. You are the product, you are selling yourself. So it's akin to, like, if you're looking for a laptop, if you're looking for a gadget, if you're looking for something, probably the first thing that you are going to do is grab a copy of a brochure of that potential, no, product or item that you are planning to purchase, and look there the specs, no, and the features of the product, whether it suits your interests. The same thing in the resume. If I am the hiring officer, that's how important resume is for me, no. I'm going to look at whether, the criteria, the characteristics and personality that I'm looking for someone who can fulfill the task are there, no. So that's the resume. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is that you try to analyze, you try to study the requirements of the position. What do you think are the characteristics, no, the attributes of someone who can really perform the task? And if there are value added personalities or characteristics that you possess which you think, no, are not mentioned in the requirement of the position, but you think that these are important, then you can include that in the resume. You know what I mean? Okay. So for new graduates, just like you can list your accomplishments in school, no? Do not worry about not having work-related accomplishments. You can pick out those school accomplishments that show responsibility, dependability, cooperative spirit, and the like. So because why is that so? Why is it that you bank on your school experience, especially if you don't have any professional experience at all? Well, the fact that your application, when you're going to apply for a particular job, most likely you're going to apply for an entry level position. You will not apply for a higher level position or a middle level position, right? Hindi ka naman pwede mag-apply ng foreman agad, ng supervisor agad. Dapat mag-apply ka muna ng mababang posisyon so that, alam nyo, it also fits on your qualifications, 'di ba? May mga ganun naman eh. Companies are looking for someone for an entry level position. And what you can highlight there is that your experiences and exposures when you were in school. Kaya maganda, what have you done when you were still in school? No? I mean, yeah, you are serious student, you attend classes, no? Uh, During this time that we are having remote virtual classes, no, using our LMS, you attend classes, that's it. You just wait for the synchronous class, you perform asynchronous classes, no? And that's it. But what gives you competitive edge over the other, right? Because probably most of the students are doing the same thing. What I'm trying to say is that make something different, all right? Something different that you can highlight in your resume. So even if you are in this situation, no, notwithstanding the situation that we are in right now, um, you have you have reached out, you have get you know get out from your comfort zone and you have done something different, no, something that no one would expect that you do, no, something that would bolster your competence, your qualification, and your experience. So how are you going to write a resume? Simple, no? You start with your name, and the most important thing should be written first to the least important thing. So you have your name, your address, no, specific address, because these companies will also do background investigation, and sometimes they will visit your purok and your barangay to inquire whether you are really a resident of that area. Your contact number and your email address are very important because these are means of communication, the means to communicate, no, to communicate you on the status of your application in case you need to submit other documents, or in case you need to proceed to the next stage of the screening process. Then this is how the company will inform you through your contact number and your email address. So don't forget that. Your summary statement. In a gist, HR people or those who will be reading your resume are very busy people. No? They don't have the luxury of time to read everything that you have written there. So again, give them a reason to continue reading your document by writing there a summary statement. And summary statement is a gist of your qualification, of who you are, of why they should read further, of what you possess, no, that will stick the interest of the HR. Of course, your work or school experience, including your OJT and your apprenticeship. No, if you have, because the good thing about our curriculum this time is that all programs, no, require students to undergo an OJT or an exposure. So for sure, you have an exposure, and if I am the hiring officer, I am interested of that. No, even if it's a short period of time, no, but I am interested on you um, how you make the most out of it, no, of your OJT experience, your job responsibilities from your OJT experience. What are your accomplishments in school, no, and probably outside school that speaks about your competence, your qualification, and something that gives you the edge over the other applicants. All right. That's why I'm telling you that when you're still a student, you have to do something more, no? Something more. Find out, because the university is giving so many opportunities for our student to engage in so many things, no, like for example in community extension activities, in the office of the student affairs, exchange program, no, volunteerism, things like that. Because if you have participated in these things, that will give you again competitive advantage, and of course your education. So you see, there is nothing there in your resume that speaks about your, or that asks you about your parents, your siblings, and your teachers in elementary and in high school. Those stuff are not relevant anymore, no, your height, your weight, and your religion. Okay. So our resume should answer this key question. One is that what can you do for me? No, do you have the skills I'm looking for? So when you write your resume, you have to have this checklist, no, and find out whether you have fulfilled these key questions. All right. Where have you worked before? Is your experience relevant to my needs? Do you have the right education and credentials? What kind of person are you, and where can I contact you? So yun lang ang isusulat mo sa iyong resume. Alright? Importante dito yung mga skills mo, yung experience mo, alright? Yung competence mo. If the job requires you to perform an equipment, no? Use an equipment, a machine or whatever, especially for those who are technical related profession like engineering, hospitality like HRM, no, or architecture, uh, or nursing or health related sciences programs, then you have to make it sure that if there's a need for you to use an equipment, then you have the ability to do that. No? You are knowledgeable on how to perform it. Common skills that you need, no, in your application is that, or in your job in the future, is that your communication skills, problem solving, responsibility. These are generic skills, no? When you say generic skills, these are regardless of your program, whether you're into criminology, teacher education, business administration, these are required. These are expected of you, no? So when you say communication skills, it's not only the ability to speak in English, but it's your ability to relay your idea, share your idea, no, say something. When you receive some idea, how are you going to process that and share that, no? All right. How are you going to respond to questions? How are you going to express yourself? That's communication skills. Okay. The other one is problem solving. No? Um, this is very situational, and your problem solving skills will be tested more if you are in a job interview. No, your responsibility, eagerness to learn. No, the sometimes the problem with your generation is that there is a feeling of audacious feeling. You know what's audacious? Sometimes our young generation, they have this feeling of um, anong tawag nito, yung entitlement, self-entitlement, no? Sa kabata-bata nyo pa, ano na talaga kayo, parang you price na yourself, no? I deserve to have this, you know. I expect that if I will be hired, then I will be getting this much, something like that, no? So, but remember that you are a novice in the world of work, and there are those who are more experienced than you are. Then therefore, do not be like that. All right, you have to remain humble. You have to allow yourself to, learn from other people. No, creative thinking, people skills, ayan, personal skills, self management. No, and then technical skills. So when you say technical skills, those are skills that are related to the your career, to your profession. And how to develop these skills? Well, of course, while you're in school, no. Example, people skills, no. Uh, your ability to mingle with other people, to expand your network with other people. That's why it's important that if you have your lists of friends, no, or bucket list of friends, dapat yung list of friends mo, tingnan mo ngayon kung ilan doon ang quality friends. I mean, you know what I mean? People who can help you someday, people you can depend on, people you can knock on in case you need some help. I remember when I was, that's why ako nung 20s ako like you, madali ako nag-mature because I have good number of friends who are more mature than I am, no? Like when I was 20s, no, 20, early 20s, 21, 22, I have friends who are in their 30s, in their 40s, and they occupy higher position already, no, in their respective organization. So what does it mean? If I need help, no, I need help that, I can get a job, or I need coaching, I need support, I need sometimes nice words from older people, from a more mature people, then I have those. You know what I mean? Hindi kailangan na lahat na lang ng friends mo ka-level mo, no? So dapat meron kang combination, iba-ibang combinations. So you segmentize your friends, no? Also, okay? Social activities, mingling with other people, going with other people, you learn from them. When you're having a coffee in a coffee shop and you're having a tea with these people, you learn from their life stories, from their experiences and the like. Okay, hobbies, no, volunteer work. No, when you do some volunteer works, then you also learn from that, no, the feeling of giving, the satisfying feeling of helping other people. All right, because they said that there's a saying that ultimate satisfaction and happiness comes from what you receive from not from what you receive from other people, but it comes from the feeling of giving. All right, doing house chores, what you can develop there is patience. All right, patience and being organized, and then community work. So di pwede na board lang ang life ninyo, no, isa lang or dalawa lang. Dapat combination of many of this. All right. So how long should a resume be? We suggest that it should not be more than 2 pages, no? Because HR people are busy people and they don't have enough time, the luxury of time to read your resume. So dapat you must be knowledgeable enough on how to write a lucid, concise, yet substantial resume, not more than 2 pages, no? What should I include in my personal data? Well, in general, you avoid facts that may be used to discriminate against you. Um, like, for example, your height, your weight, and your religion. No? I mean, of what importance those information to your application? Nothing, di ba? So, it will just occupy some pages in your resume. And if you're going to write those information, it will give an impression that you have nothing to write except those. All right? You have nothing to flaunt in yourself. You have nothing to say about your qualifications, about your experience, except those information. All right. Should I put my photo in my resume? My answer there is no. If you ask HR people, they want your picture in your resume. But I encourage you not. Do not put your picture. Why? Because it's, again, let's accept the fact that we human beings have biases towards good looks. And if you are not a good looking person, no, and if you're aware of that, the tendency is that you're going to seek the help of a photographer, no, you'll do some photoshop of your photo, and it's not reality anymore, no, it's not the real thing. We are so engrossed of how we look at, how we project ourselves, knowing that, it's not about that thing, but it's about what you can perform, what are your abilities, no. All right, so do not put your picture in your resume. Others also, when they put a picture in their resume, they will cut that from a group photo, no? And pag gunting na apil ang dunggan sa iyang katapad, o di ba? So anyway, if the HR or the hiring officer is really interested of your application, later on they will ask you to submit your photo. But at the first step, unless it is being required and it is explicitly stated that upon submission of your resume, you have to include your picture. If there is nothing like that, no, then do not put your picture in your resume. Okay? Now, so we are done uh, talking about how are you going to write a winning application letter and resume. And we know that application letter and resume are your ticket for you to proceed to the next stage, which is the interview. You will not be hired based on what you have written in your resume, but you will receive a call for you to proceed to the next stage based on what you have written in your resume. So you might be wondering why after submitting your resume and your application letter, you have not received anything, no? Any call from the company, from the organization. Very simple. Because you have not prepared a winning cover letter and resume. Okay? So let's proceed to the most dreaded part of your application, which is the interview. Now, it says here that the preparation is half the battle. Because, why is that so? How are you going to prepare? And how are you going to get there, no? You prepare. Why is it there's a statement like that? Well, it's a statement of Sanchu. I do not know if you have read the book of Sancho, The Art of War. No, um, The Art of War by Sancho says that if you want to win the battle and you're one of the best tactics, no, the one of the best ploys that you can have is to prepare. All right, you prepare, and in job interview, you can do that by anticipating what are the potential questions that will come out during job interview. Because questions in a job interview are the same over and over again. So why is it that you cannot respond them? No? That's a question, all right? And why is it that the job interview is the deciding factor? You see any beauty contest, no? Miss World and Miss Universe or any other beauty contest, supranational, whatever is that, the final, if you have noticed, the final stage of the screening is in the interview. And from there, the judges will determine who among the finalists shall wear the crown. So the same thing in a application process, the interview. Because how candidates behave during the interview is often seen as an indicator of how they will perform. You know, your nonverbal and your verbal communication, the way you respond to the questions, will give them an impression of whether you are confident or not. And that confidence will give again an impression that you are knowledgeable of the position. So it says here, the better prepared you are, the less nervous you will feel and the more confident you will appear. So the key word there is you have to be confident. Because if you're not, it will give again an impression that you are not knowledgeable of the position. Especially if you're not spontaneous in your answer, no, di ba? If you're not spontaneous, if you are not providing substantial answer, then why will I hire you if I am the hiring officer, di ba? Because you don't have the energy, you don't have the interest, you don't have the desire, you don't have the preparation for this process. And this process is very important, no? If I have not seen in you that you have prepared well for the job interview, then I will not also dare to hire you. All right? Ganun lang yon, no? The more you know about the purpose of the interview and the organization, the better your response to the question. So, basic yan. Alamin mo ano ang position all about at alamin mo kung ano ang organization all about. Because, trust me, if you have better, if you had done good research about the position and about the company, then for sure you can respond well to the questions. All right? Especially so that you want to be part of the company. And the hiring officer wants also to know whether you have done prior knowledge about our organization. No? Okay. So what's the hiring managers are looking for during job interview? One, basic ability to perform the job. Your competence. If there's a need for you to, as I said, perform an equipment, use an equipment, are you knowledgeable on that? No. If there's a need for you to write well or speak well, are you knowledgeable? Do you have those skills? If there's a need for you to use problem solving skills, can you do that? No? You know what I mean, all right? So istudyuhan ninyo kung ano talaga ang requirement ng position and what do you possess, what you have that you can share during job interview. Be ready on that. The other one is, aside from your competence and your ability, is your fitness in terms of culture and personality. So in short, the hiring officer is interested, no, will be interested to look at your attitude, no, your personality and your characteristics, your motivation and enthusiasm. No, are you that person who is motivated? Are you that person who is driven by your career goals? No, so there will be questions like, how do you see yourself in 10 to 15 years? And is your answer be more on personal or more on career related? That's why if you will be asked, how do you see yourself in 10 to 15 years? Tapos sasabihin mo that I see myself having a family of my own with two children, with two kids. I mean, where are we? If we're going to hire you, where are we, no? In that 10 to 15 years. All right? Knowledge of the company. I have already mentioned that, and it's just like guys courting girls, may nagustuhan kayo, no? Manligaw kayo at yung mga babae bago kayo magsagot, no? Bago magpitok-pitok inyong mata kung ginaligawan mo, Well, for sure, what you are going to do first is that you have to see whether you share the same interests, no, and likes with that person. Okay, so same thing with knowledge of the company. If I am the hiring officer, I'd like to know whether your philosophy statement in life, whether your career interests are anchored or have similarities to our vision and mission statement or to our core values and philosophy in our organization. All right? So you have to be ready with that. And of course, your communication skills. Can you like really speak? Can you really like say and respond to questions? Because hindi naman pwede na hindi ka makasagot, no? Hindi naman pwede na ano ka, utal-utal ka or what, nganga ka, 'di ba? O expected sa iyo na kapag tapos ka ng degree, no, 'di ba, that you are trained in communication skills, that you can really speak well, all right? Not necessarily that you are really very outstanding in English communication, but or in other foreign languages, but at least the ability for you to really speak. But the thing there is that you have to express. If the interview is done in English, then you have to also respond in English. No, that's the basic. Uh, you have to benchmark the language used by the interviewer. Okay, all right. So generally, what employers most look for an interview, three major things. No, generic. One is that can you do the job? So questions like questions about your skills, your talents, your abilities, and your competencies. You have to be ready on that, no? And then will you do the job? Your interests, your motivation, your right values to work, no? Okay. And then third is about your fitness in the company and its culture. So about your interpersonal skills, your adaptability, and your positive work attitude. Okay. As I said, merong impression, no, sa new generation, sa young generation, sa mga digital natives natin ngayon, no. Ang isang impression is that kayo yung mga taong ang dali ninyong magsawa. Kaya nauso sa inyo ang kasabihang hashtag walang forever. Okay? Kayo yung taong you don't stick in a nook for quite some time, for a long period of time. No? You like adventure, you like to shift from one job to another. And I know many friends, no, I know many students of mine who are like that, no. They cannot stick to one company for like 6 months. Hindi naman sa hindi sila nag-qualify, no, for regularization, but really they don't like to stay in one company for so long. So I do not know how are you going to respond to that, no. Especially if you have that attitude that you cannot be placed in a nook for so long. Okay? All right. So how are you going to structure your answer? Why is it that sometimes we cannot respond to questions well? Why is it that we are not spontaneous? No? Why is it that utal-utal tayo, no? In our answers to the questions? Because one is we don't have any structure. We do not know how to organize our thoughts in a limited time given to us, no? But compared to a beauty contest that you are given 40 seconds to respond to answer to the question pala, this one, it's not 40 seconds. So what you can do is that you respond the question, no? You answer the question in a simple and straightforward way, and then you give supporting evidence. You cite an example, you cite a situation, no? And then you wrap up. You connect your answer to the requirement of the position. How do you think your answer and your experience are important to the performance of the job, of the task? Okay? Example, no? These are most common job interview questions. Like number one, tell me something about yourself. So do not be so personal or long-winded. Um, you prepare a 1 to 2 minute synopsis of what qualifies you and what makes you the perfect candidate for the job. Why is this question being asked? Like, please introduce yourself or tell us anything that we need to know about you. Is that, the hiring officer or the one asking this question is interested about your qualification, your accomplishments, and your experience related to the position. Because That question will serve as my benchmark to my succeeding questions. It will serve as my direction on how will I ask you, no, again, okay, or what will be my follow-up questions based on your answers, no, all right. So that's why you also have to take a look at the facial expression, the nonverbal communication of the interviewer, whether the time that you respond to that question, whether you see him interested or not at all, diba? But the point there is that again, that's the best time for you to highlight, to flaunt your qualifications, no, your experience. What do you know about our company? I think this is the third time that I mentioned here in my talk, no, about company, or why do you want to work in our company, or why you are applying in this position. Well, try to reveal that you know not only facts about the company, but that you have taken an analytical view of the company or of the organization. All right. So you may respond, for example, that what do you know about our company? Well, sir, ma'am, I have read your vision and mission of your organization, which states that, oh, memorya ko nimo ang vision and mission sa company, no? And it will impress, no? For sure, it will impress the interviewer. Kuyawan ning bata, oy na memorya man gyud ang among vision and mission, 'di ba? Okay. And I see that the vision and mission statement of your company is in nexus with my philosophy in life, which also states that. So you formulate, you come up a philosophy statement in life that is in link, no, that is in sync with the vision and mission statement of the organization. And so it's not enough. Then try to say how the philosophy statement of yours is connected to the vision and mission statement of the company. So probably you can say that with that vision and mission statement of your company and the philosophy statement, my philosophy statement, no, in life, I believe that if I will be given the opportunity to work in your organization, then I believe that I can contribute to the furtherance of your organization, and I see myself growing in this company over the years. O, di ba? And if you're, for example, applying in a private, even in a government agency, no, try to note their competitors and what are their accomplishments in the industry. And how can you contribute? How can you sneak in to the sustainability or to the maintenance of that good image or to that accomplishment of the company? Okay. For example, when I applied for a group study exchange program in Rotary, sponsored by Rotary, few years back, decades back. No, Rotary has a program for young professionals. No, that if you qualify, then they will be sending you to other countries for like 2 months for professional exposure. So I applied, and the target country was in the United States. No, so I was asked, why we have to choose you? Oh, and why do you want to apply in this Rotary Group Study Exchange Program, and why we have to choose you, di ba? And knowing that I was just a simple employee in the university, and I learned that other applicants, there was a RTC judge, city councilors, no, there were doctors, there were from there were writers, may dalawa doon, may ari ng school. I mean, their credentials are impressive compared to my credential and compared to my position, no. So wala, no, I mean, I should not be felt behind by their credentials and by their positions. So I have to think of ways which I possess, no, characteristics and talents that I have, which probably they don't have. And I believe that these talents or these skills are useful if they are going to choose me. And para bang I'm giving them reason that, you have to choose me, you have to select me because uh, it's not my loss, it's going to be your loss. No? You know what I mean? So, I have to flaunt, for example, um, my editing skills. I know how to edit. I know how to design. But most of all, I emphasized two important things. I told to the interviewers, to the panel, that since Rotary is a service, no, organization, a club service organization that's helping community. So I said to them that if I will be chosen to represent your Rotary, then I will be also representing the two most important sectors in the society which are very close to your heart. These are the education and employment. Education, because I work in a university and I planned, if I will be traveling to the US, I plan to visit universities, learn good practices from there, and these good practices will be shared, will have a bigger multiplier effect given that we have many branches, we have many campuses, and I can also use my voice, no, use this platform to share to other universities about the good things that I will be learning from this exchange program. Second, about employment. I'm with Public Employment Service Office, and I know that because it was 2009, and for those of you who were born on that year, the world was faced with a global crisis, no? Just like what we are facing right now. So the world was also facing a global crisis in 2009, and that was the year that I traveled to the US, no? And so even the US, no, it was hardly hit by the economic crisis. So I told to them that I'm going to represent the employment sector because I'm with the Public Employment Service Office and I'm an officer in our organization. And I also plan to visit the Department of Labor, companies, and even those sectors that are working to address labor problems and employment problems in the US. And from that learning, no, I can share those important points in the region to also help curb the unemployment problem that we are facing right now. In all those courses, in all those activities, for sure I will be bringing the name of your organization, Rotary, and something that will fulfill the four-way test of the Rotary. O, di ba? So memoryado na ko ang four-way test. Don't ask me anymore this time because I cannot memorize that anymore. All right? So you see, so kasi I cannot flaunt, no? I cannot be proud of my position kay feeling nako padak-anay man gyud position kay magkag judge ang nag-apply, no, na ay city councilors, di ba? O pero masugo ba gud nimo ng judge, no? Masugo ba gud nimo ng mga city councilors? Dili na nimo masugo kanang tag-iya sa eskwelahan, dili na nimo masugo, dili na nimo sila basta-basta masugo, di ba? But hindi ako, I don't feel intimidated by their position and by their presence. I have to bank on something that you have to choose me because I have something in my ace, no? I have something in my ace. I have something in my deck of cards which they don't have. All right? Okay. What is your greatest weakness? Sasabihin ninyo, sir, you have been telling us that we have to flaunt our strengths. But why is it that, there is weakness? Okay. Why is this question is being asked? Because number one, the interviewer wants to know if you are that person who is not arrogant, that you are that person who recognizes that we human beings are not perfect, that we have limitations and that we have weaknesses, and that you know your weakness. All right? The interviewer asked this to see if you're honest and self-aware. Everyone has weaknesses, so saying you don't have any won't work. This is not a beauty pageant that when you're asked if there is anything in your life that you want to change, what would that be? I remember that was the response of the first runner-up, Philippines, no? She said that there is nothing wrong. Almost everything about me is perfect. I cannot be successful of who I am right now if it is not because of what I have accomplished in my life. No, I mean, that's an arrogant sounding response. The thing there is that you have to recognize what is your weakness, but the most important thing there is that how do you overcome that weakness and turn that weakness into something positive, or how you were able to develop a positive attitude, positive characteristic out from that weakness of yours. For example, ako, ang weakness ko talaga is I'm an impatient person, no? You cannot let me wait. If I travel, if I'm in the airport, I cannot, long hours of wait will bug me. Same thing if I travel in the morning from my house going to the office, and if I'm stuck in a traffic, if that happens to me, it will destroy my whole day. It will destroy my mood. It will ruin my entire day. So I know my weakness that I'm an impatient person and I don't like to be stuck in a traffic. And so what I'm doing is that I wake up early, I travel early from my house to the office so that at the end of the day, I'll be productive and my day will be nice. All right? So, I mean, don't let that weakness of yours destroy your day or destroy your capability and your potential. All right? Okay. Why should we hire you? Well, the same thing as question as why do you want to work in our company? But this time you have to highlight what do you possess. So ikaw, assess mo talaga sarili mo. Anong meron sa iyo, no? 'Di ba? Anong meron ka nung estudyante ka pa, marunong, you were hired because of your talent, no? You receive income because you have talents to do this, you have skills to do this and do like that. During the pandemic, no, notwithstanding the situation, you were productive, you have developed another skill. I remember in Kain 500, no, in the previous semester, I remember we have one student from, I think, engineering, no. What happened to him is that he worked part-time, no. He was tapped by his neighborhood to do some stuff and things like that, no, something that's related to his talents and skills. uh that's during pandemic, and it helped him, no, to pay his tuition fees, no, and other expenses. I mean, that's something, you do not allow the situation to stuck you, no, bug you or keep you waiting, keeping you at bay. Do you have any question? Ito lang, no, Kain 500 students. In the future, when you're in a job interview, do not let the interview finish without you asking any question. Because job interview is a form of conversation. And if it is a conversation, therefore, it should not be a one-way process, one-way style of questioning that only the interviewer asks questions. You also ask questions, what potential questions or possible questions that you may raise during job interview. Probably you can ask them if you will be hired, or for those who are newly hired in the company, what's the usual honeymoon period for those who are newly hired. You know what's honeymoon period? Because you don't expect the newly hired to deliver the expectation, no, perfectly 100%. No, it's not. There are some kind of adjustments, period of adjustment for them. So what period do you usually provide or give to newly hires to adjust and learn and develop, no, the style and craft of the position? Well, other potential questions is that can you make a follow-up on the status of your application? Because also pa naman ngayon ang ghosting. No? You don't like to be ghosted. You know what I mean? After ng iyong interview, after ng iyong screening, wala man ang status of what happened to you, whether you were hired or not. 'Di ba? So, maybe you can follow up. No, you will be the one to call, to give a ring, to make a follow up. So after the final screening, how long will you be allowed, no, to make a follow up about the status of your application, because they cannot keep you waiting, no. I mean, without telling on the status, hulat-hulat ka kay basi madawat ka ani nga trabaho. All right? Okay, so you ask question. Pag ingon ka, do you have any question? Excited na po ka kay hala kani mahuman na gyud ang interview ani, nakulbaan na ra ba ko? No question. Oh, ay way lami, no. Nagwonder ka nga nung wala ka na dawat because of this question. What can you contribute most to our organization? Hala sir, na adi amutan, tagpila pod kay contribute man, no? No, it's not. It's not. Answer this question by highlighting your experiences related to the position and your personal characteristics which are relevant to the performance of the job. So, again, highlight your qualification, highlight your potentials, highlight your experience, no? Your passion, your training, no? your special talent which you think are relevant to that position. I'm excited to listen to you, no, responding to questions, because in our next session I will be asking some of you to you know respond, to be in a mock interview. And I'm excited because I've been telling you about this and that, and I'd like to know whether those things have instilled in the abyss of your being, and whether you have understood well my my sharing to you. All right, that's why I'm so excited to listen to you facing a mock interview. Okay. I think it was last month that we had a mock interview. We invited representatives from the industry. They are all HR, so they know their craft. They know what to ask for from an applicants, no. And I hope that some of you have experienced and have participated that job career fair, no, that we had last month. Okay, because we're doing that for our students, because I believe that the more that you experience that dreaded moments, no, of facing an interviewer in a job interview, the more that you can gain confidence. Well, normal, if it's going to be your first time to be in a job interview, or even in second time, normal that you are not confident, and sometimes you shatter, sometimes you are not spontaneous, no, because of the feeling of uncertainties and anxiety. But the more that you face, the more that you put yourselves into that situation, I believe that the more that you can gain confidence, and it's going to be very easy for you the next time around that you'll have a job interview. All right? Okay, so that's why I'm so excited, because I've been telling you this, I've been telling you that. Na very simple, no? Why is it that there's a job interview? Because number one, it's just a validation of the things that you have written in your resume. All right? I called you, if I am the hiring officer, I called you, I scheduled you for a job interview, whether it's a panel, remote virtual interview, one-on-one interview, because I want to validate some things that you have written here in your resume. You mentioned that you have this, you have that, and I'd like to know more about that. No, that's it. And what if you will be hired? Why is it that you are applying for this position? Why in our company? Okay. What are your interests? Tell us if we have similarities. My company, and your experience. Do we have similarities? Are you prepared for that position? Things like that. Okay. Sometimes if you will be asked about motivation, no, that's the second part, no? That's the second generic question that will be asked in a job interview about motivation. So, okay, competent ka nga, qualified ka nga, but sometimes, if you are hired, uh, sometimes we ask our employees, no, our staff to work overtime. Can you do that? No, are you willing to do that? No, or we ask them to transfer residence, no, or stay outside their area of residence, or travel, no, from time to time. Are you willing to do that? No, things like that. All right, those are willingness. No, so even if you're qualified, even if you're competent, but sometimes the other type of questions will not validate your potential to perform the job, then we will not hire you. You know what I mean? Okay. There's a survey done by PMAP, no, by the Personnel Managers Association of the Philippines, and we know that PMAP is an organization of HR managers in the country. There's a survey that asked them about the common interview mistakes made by applicants, and I'm sharing this to you because I want you to take note of this so that you'll not do this when you're in a job interview. So one is answering cell phone or texting, no? So when you're in a job interview, you have to switch off your cell phone, or turn your cell phone to a silent mode. Pareho lang gud na siya klasa. Kung nag-date ka, tapos pag date is nagsigi kag kuri-kuri sa imong cellphone, masapot ko ako imong ka-date ana, masapot ko bayaan yung takagway ko pananghid, no? Because it's an insult to my presence. So the same thing if you're in a job interview. All right? Pareha nang mag-coffee session mo sa inyong mga barkada, or magkaon mo, no? Mag-unsa-unsa mo. Nya magsige kuri-kurian ng cellphone, magsige kuri-kurian ng laptop. Is an insult to my presence, 'di ba? do that in front, in my kuan, in my presence, then bayaan gyud ta ka no, mag-walk out jud ko ana, because again you are insulting my presence. It seems that my presence is not important. If you have important call, if you're waiting for an important call or messages, then you inform me ahead of time, or you excuse no yourself, all right? But don't do that most of the time while I'm here, all right? Okay. So the same thing in a job interview. It's an insulting stuff, no? Dressing inappropriately. That's why the next session that we are going to have in Kain 500 is about your personality development, what to wear during job interview, and how this, attire of yours uh, will give an impression, no? What potential impression or possible impression you're trying to, or what message you're trying to convey if you're going to wear this particular attire. Appearing disinterested, you have to, exude with interest, full of energy and vigor if you're in a job interview. Because kung lamyada kay ka, wala kang kalutay-lutay, ay susway lami, no? Di gyud ka ma-hire kay parte nimo kalamyada, murag wa kay pamahaw. Basi makulaps ka diha. So dapat nakapag-coffee ka na, no, di ba? Nakapag-breakfast ka or nakapag-take ka ng imong meal. You had a good night's sleep because you have to prepare. As I said, preparation is half the battle, and it's not about preparation is not only about anticipating what potential questions will be raised during job interview, but it's also about preparing yourself emotionally, psychologically, mentally, no, di ba? And part of that is having a good night's rest. Appearing arrogant, o yan, sasagutin mo, there is nothing wrong with me. I don't have any weakness because I cannot reach who I am right now if I have weakness, no? I mean, you know, why will I hire you after all? It seems that you know everything in this world. I cannot teach you anymore. So the possibility of you, di ba, will not following my instruction in the future, and the possibility of you will not listen to me in the future, di ba? Baka may sarili ka ng mundo in the future, di ba? Or imuha na lang kung libakon nga kanang mas hawd pa ko ana niya or mas kabalo pa ko ana niya, di ba? Okay? Appearing unprepared. Okay? Pareho na sa disinterested. Chewing gum. We know why you're doing that. Because you're tense. And don't show yourself too obvious that you are tense. Okay? Second is that mura kag kanding no, nagausap-usap while nag-answer. So, pangit tanaw. Okay? Don't do that. Not providing specific answers. That's why um, for example, about weakness, I cannot remember if I'm the hiring officer, I cannot remember your weakness, but I can remember you. I will remember you. The way that, you explain your weakness and turn your weakness and develop some positive attitude out from your weakness. All right? You know what I mean? I will remember an applicant who have better examples than generic answers. Oh, you will be remembered based on your experiences, based on how you cite, you refer, you connect your answer to a specific situation. For example, if you will be asked, if you're an animal, I mean, how you compare yourself to an animal? Or if you're an animal, what animal will you be? Diba? Pag sinasabi mo you're a tiger, why a tiger? What characteristic of a tiger that is similar in your characteristic? And how do you think this characteristic is relevant to the position? You know what I mean? Oh. Parehaan nang maingon sila, no? Sa Kain 500. If you're an animal, what animal you would want to be? Say, bird. Why bird? Because I want I see bird flying, moving from places to places, no? And it's easy for the bird to do that because the bird can just fly. And I like that experience, moving from places to places. Okay. And then what? You know? Yeah, correct. Na-connect mo nga yung experience ng bird, yung attribute ng bird sa sarili mo. Pero again, how important those stuff to the position. Gusto mo lang talaga maglipad-lipad, di ba? Or maglaag-laag. Oh. But that is not a requirement in the position for you to travel. No, you have to stay there in a nook. You have to stay in a particular place, di ba? So how is that connected to the position? Okay. And last, not asking good questions. So I already emphasized that the importance of you asking good questions. Kung ako ang interviewer, I will, because I truly believe that you can test the intelligence better. No? You can better test, ano ba? You can test the intelligence of a person better based on the way he or she asks questions and not only on the way he or she answers questions, So the way ka mag-ask ng question, sometimes you can impress that person's intelligence, no? Uh, you can appreciate the person's intelligence and smartness the way he or she asks questions. Okay. May question dito. Ha? Sabi niya, Sir, good morning. May question lang po ako sa mga accomplishments sa school na ilagay sa resume. Need pa po ba ng mga certificates? May mga accomplishment po ako pero yung iba walang certificates po. Now, careful kayo in claiming something, no? Because there will really come a time that, especially if you're a strong candidate and you will be hired, there will come a time that the employer, no, or the company will ask you to submit supporting evidences. And if you don't have any evidence at all of those stuff, then do not put that in your resume. If you cannot find the evidences, the certificates and the like, then remove that in your resume, because the tendency is that you're claiming something that is not backed up with evidences. All right? Okay. Done na yon. So close na. Let's proceed to social media etiquette. One way of doing, no, background investigation, especially again if you are a very strong candidate and you're near to be hired. I mean, few steps to be selected for the position, and the company will dig deeper about you, no? They will do background investigation. And one way of doing that is through social media, your social media account, no? And that's why if you have social media account, sometimes it will raise eyebrows to some that why is it that your social media is a private one, di ba? After all, it's a social media. It's supposed to be public, no? All right? Okay. So, so that's number one. The other one is that if I am the hiring officer, companies do background investigation in social media, especially if they want to know more about your character, your personality, no? Kung anong klaseng tao ka, all right? Okay. So, since you are now about to enter the professional world, then you have to start filtering, no, checking your social media account and avoid some of these things. One is that writing negative posts. O galit ka sa PLDT, galit ka sa Globe kasi walang connection, ipopost mo agad, di ba? I mean, alam naman ng PLDT at saka ng Globe na may problema sila sa connection. Hindi mo lang siguro binasa ang kanilang advisory. And 'di ba? I mean, we said that no one is perfect. There will really be a problem. And attacking this organization and posting this stuff, this statement in the social media will give a bad impression about you. That ano ka, no, yung reklamador ka na pagkatao. Okay? So, pag i-hire ka namin, tapos ganyan ka pala, then baka mapuno lang kami ng complaint, mapuno lang kami ng reklamo from you. Okay? Or ungrammatical posts or use of derogatory language, no? I'm not saying that do not complain. If you see some reason for you to raise complaints, no, you can do that. You can complain. But the thing there is that there must be nice words of doing that, nice way of doing that, no? Because what if ikaw nireklamuhan ka at sinabihan ka ng masama sa ibang tao, di ba? You will feel bad about it. So the same thing, you also put yourselves in the position of this organization or of these people, but you complain in a nice way, no? In a manner that you maintain respect and you know be educated, no? After all, nakapagtapos kayo ng formal education, and we expect that from you, no? Companies and organizations expect that from you. All right. Third, make your posts all about you. So lahat na lang ng post mo, all about your OOTD, food mo, TikTok mo, no, yung mga sayaw-sayaw mo at kanta-kanta mo na ikaw lang ang nagkagusto. And anong gusto mong palabasin? Gusto mo maging social media influencer ka para marami ang likes mo? Yung ganon? I mean, 'di ba? Hindi naman 'yon ang hinahanap namin eh. So that's why we call that social media, because we expect that what some of your posts there was something about social issues, or kung may nakita ka na series, no, and then it deserves your comments, your review, then why not write a review about it, no? Or if you have finished reading a book, then, and again, it deserves some review from you, then you write something about that. All right, alam mo, kung konti lang ang likes mo or konti lang ang engagement, pero yun ang ginagawa mo, doon mo makikita ngayon kung sino ang mga quality friends mo. Yung mga nagre-react, tingnan mo ha, yung mga nagre-react ng mga TikTok mo, ng mga walang, for me, walang kabuluhan ng mga TikTok, pang stress reliever thingy lang yan. Compared sa mga meron kang tinatakol ng mga social issues, nagsishare ka ng review mo sa series or sa palabas or sa book. Tingnan mo ngayon kung sino yung mga nagla-like. Sila yung mga friends mo or kakilala mo, kaibigan mo sa social media, who have the same interests and likes with you. All right? I mean, you will know them. Makikita mo ngayon. So, pwede mo ngayon i-segmentize. Ito pala sila, no? Ito yung mga palike-like lang, di ba? Walang mga comment-comment and the like, di ba? So, makikita mo yan. All right? Because if all your posts are all about you, it will give an impression again that ikaw yung tao na mahilig sa spotlight. Eh, hindi yan ang hinahanap namin eh. Baka gusto mo mag-artista, no? Gusto mo sumikat, gusto mo maging social media influencer, o di ba? So, iba. Baka kasi pag-hire namin sa iyo, puro na lang yun ang ginagawa mo, no? Chine-check mo ngayon kung ilan na ang followers mo, ilan na ang nagla-like sa iyo, 'di ba? Okay. So, that's for the component B. We encourage our students to continue to follow us on our Facebook. And I think our session today is shared in our official YouTube channel, no? So, before the question and answer, maybe Benji has some games. Meron ka bang activity for our students?
Magano tayo, sir? Quiz?
Ah,
Wala man ata, sir.
wala ka mga Mentimeter thingy?
Pwede, sir.
Sige, mag-Mentimeter ka para ma-enjoy sila. Para we will know kung if they have listened. Yun lang session ko din sa bench.
Yes, so you can go to menti.com, alright? So, for a while. Okay.
And then after that, we can entertain questions from our students, no?
Okay, sige. Okay, please go to menti.com and then you write your name and also your code. And then you use the code 341-84971. So let's just wait no, sa ating mga players. Okay, don't forget to have your screenshots no sa inyong asa ginawa natin ngayon na seminar no, that's for your attendance. You just check no or visit your Blackboard LMS no for the instructions of your coaches. Okay. Isa pala ang nag-enter. We have how many participants here? We have 78 participants into sa Zoom webinar natin, and I believe meron din tayo sa YouTube channel. If you have lost your connections a while ago, no, you can go back to our YouTube later, no, kasi naka-record to. We are being streamed live sa YouTube natin na channel. So, pwede nyo lang i-check doon. Okay? Or you can join later, no? If you want to listen again to Dr. Ray Castro, no, sa talk niya, and you want to learn more, so pwedeng mag-join pa din later. But it's up to you. Bumalik na si Len from Bayou Break. Right? Okay. So again, you can write your questions no, sa Q&A button natin so that later it will be answered by Sir Ray. Okay. You want more players pa kasi madami tayo dito. Yung mga 30. Come on, join. So you have to get a lot of points. So in order for you to get a lot of points, you have to answer fast. Okay, so tingnan natin if you really listen no, to the discussions no, of Sir Ray. So, the questions will be about application letter, resume, sa social media, and others. Okay. Last 3 players, okay, join. Okay, last 2. Come on, dali. Update. Join. Okay, so hello sa ating mga participants all the way from Jensan, Sorala, no? Davao City, Davao del Norte. No? Meron din tayong Davao Oriental. So, madami. Okay. Okay, we can start na our quiz. Alright. So, answer fast to get more points. Here's the first question. How long is the ideal resume? Look at your phone and then tap your answer, 1 to 2 pages, 4 to 5 pages, or it depends on the job. 10 seconds to answer. 4, 3, 2, 1, and time is up. Ito lang yung nag 4 to 5 pages. And the correct answer is 1 to 2 pages. Alright, let's see who's leading on our leaderboard. Mga natin, top 5 students no, on this question. Hindi kayo naglagay ng ninyo, code. Ano ba ito, CP? So, tatlo yung fastest natin, no? We have Miggy, Renz, and Kay. So, fourth natin is si Brian, and then si Simba. Sino ba to si Simba? So, natingnan nga sa register sino si Simba. So, anyways, let's go to the next question. Okay, question 2 of 5. Enter. Answer fast to get more points. Here's the question. The objective of the resume is for the applicant to get hired. Get your phone, is it true or false? Alright. 2, 1, and time is up. Okay, 32 said true, but the correct answer is false. Okay, the objective of the resume is for the applicant to get an interview. Yun dapat yung answer. Right, so madaming na mali ang answer. Okay, let's see. Sino yung nasa leaderboard natin? 5 yung tama sa question na yun. Would it still be K? Parang mayroong mga changes sa ating leaderboard. Now, the fastest one is Fulgar, 11931. I think I'm the coach of this code. Okay? Number 1 pa rin si K, and then next is si B. Renz is in the 4th place, and B on the 5th place. Okay, let's proceed to the next question. Question 3 of 5. Answer fast to get more points. Here's the question. The best applicant gets the job. Right. So it has somehow a connection dun sa second question natin. Okay, what do you think is the answer? 14 seconds to answer the question. True or false? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time's up. Let's see. Mostly nagsabi ng true. Alright. But the correct answer is false. Hala. 8 yung nakatama ng answer. The best, ano man dapat to? The best interview gets the job. Ayan. Okay, tingnan natin sino yung nakatama. I mean, nasa leaderboard. Will it still be K? I think may mga changes. Names na nabago. Number 1 si B. Number 2 si Renz. Wala na si Hula Hoop. Number 4 si K, and then Joe on the 5th place. Alright. Last 2 questions. Question 4 of 5. Answer fast to get more points. Which of the following should not be included in the resume? Contact number, education, height, and religion. 13 seconds to answer. So, dapat tama dyan yung answer dali ha. Very easy question. 2, 1, and time's up. Okay. So, lahat. Okay. Everybody got the correct answer. So, let's see who's leading on the leaderboard. Sino yung top 5 natin? Alright. Yun. Si B. At saka si Renz yung nasa 2. A, Joe, and John Lloyd Nazario. Okay. Last question. Question 5 of 5. Answer fast to get more points. Here's the last question. Will you do the job? Is a general question on the applicant's blank. Is it skills, motivation, or adaptability? 15 seconds to answer the question. Nag-iisip ang iba. Alright. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and time is up. So, nagsabi ng skills, but the correct answer is motivation. Okay, yung skills kasi, can you do the job? Yung adaptability naman, will you fit, no? The environment or the job. So motivation is for the will you do the job. That's a general question for that. Alright. So tingnan natin kung sino yung top 5 natin. Okay. And the winner is, right, it's B, 799. Okay, sir, ano bang price ni B ngayon?
Sige, ano bang price? Ano bang price meron siya? I-message na lang natin siya kung anong price niya.
So kindly message us or dito sa sa Zoom natin so that we will be able to recognize you. B. Sino ba yun si B? Sir.
Okay, so any other question related to my topic? Si Debbie. Debbie pala itong B. Siya ang nanalo.
Congrats, Debbie.
Okay. Any question from our students? Pareho niyan, di ba? Pati na kumamama og almost 2 hours tapos walay question. So, baka may problema kayo sa mga connections niyo. In fact, marami ang nagkamali doon sa question 2 and 3. No?
Yes,
and question number 5. So what does it mean? It means that ano ma, it means that the speaker is not effective, or there might be some problem connections, no? Your connection is intermittent this time.
Doon
Mm.
sila nagkamali, sir, sa true or false.
True or false? Oo nga, di ba? Dali lang yun. So we said that the purpose of the resume is for you to get the interview. No? You will not be hired. I think na-emphasize ko yon, no? Hindi ka ma-hire dahil nga sa iyong resume. Pero matawagan ka, kaya i-validate, kaya may interview dahil the interviewer wants to validate the things that you have mentioned in your resume. And then, sabi kanina, the best applicant gets the job. Even if you are the best applicant, the most qualified, the most competent, but your interview speaks otherwise, no? Your interview performance speaks otherwise, no, you will not be hired, no. There's another one whose performance in the interview is much better than you are, then for sure siya gyud ang mapili, no, siya gyud ang ma-hire. That's how important the interview is.
Yun,
Okay,
marami na tayong question, sir. Merong
sir,
question.
are skills like knowing how to drive a vehicle or motorcycle a plus factor in the resume? Well, you have to know whether um if the job requires you to move a lot and travel, it may be a factor, no? But it's not a requirement unless, as I said, you're applying as a medical rep, or you need to travel a lot and the like, then that's very important. So that's why you have to know ang driving lesson sa UM is required sa ating business. I do not know if it's also required in our criminology, no? Probably sa mechanical engineering, importante din yun kasi mechanical ka man, no? Hindi ko sinasabi na dapat maging mekaniko ka, but that's a plus point, no, if you know how to drive. Okay, all right. So for business related, there will come a point in your career that you need to drive. Okay. Good day, sir. My impact from Edmond, no? Good day, sir. May impact po ba during interview if nag-Taglish pa yung applicant? Thanks. As I said, that your benchmark there is English, no? I mean, if the language of the interviewer, and if you think that you cannot express well in straight English, then the suggestion there is that you ask the permission from the interviewer that I'd like to have a disclaimer, sir, that for me to be able to express myself and share my answer well, I might probably use both English and Tagalog. No? Okay. All right. Actually, pinaka-importante doon yung substance naman eh. No? Sir, paano po yung walang experience? Paano po isulat sa resume? Pahingi po ng example. Kaya nga you highlight your OJT, no? Your volunteer work, no? Kaya nandito pa kayo sa university, make the most of your stay in the university. Kasi kung wala talaga kayo masulat at yung pareho ninyo, no? Graduate, bagong graduate, kasabayan ninyo na graduate, meron silang ibang experience na pwede nila maisulat. Gawa talaga kayo, no? Maiiwan talaga kayo. So, kaya nga ating KAED 500 is open even to our junior students, no? Not even to our graduating students, so that you still have time to fill in any weakness or any lacking experience that you may have. So what you can do is that you participate in school activities, no? In any opportunities offered by our student affairs, no? Volunteer works by our extension office, no? Hindi naman palagi, but at least meron kayong maisulat. All right? Okay. When are we allowed to say no during the interview? For example po, when asked if willing po ba gawin ang this and that. It's a test, no? Kung halimbawa, situational, halimbawa, sasabihin sa iyo na kailangan, I mean, very obvious na dapat no ang sagot mo. You explain why it's no. Alright? Hindi pwede na magsabi ka lang ng no. Halimbawa, sasabihin mo na, If there is something that your boss will ask you to do which you think are not related to your work and which are again against to your principle and against to what is expected from you and the like, will you do that? No. So if you think that your answer there is no, then you have to explain. You go back to what is expected of you, that you are guided, your employment is guided by the duties and responsibilities stated in the contract, and that's what you believe in are supposed to be the things that you are going to do, no. um, you may discuss that thing, no, that refusal of yours to your boss in a manner that he or she will not be offended, and that will not also affect your future professional relationship with your superior, di ba? So you want to maintain your professional relationship to your boss, to your direct supervisor, despite the fact that you say no to some things that he or she asked you to do. Okay? All right. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to be professional. You have to be nice. You have to be respectful in your answers. Okay? Sir, what if they ask question about the salary? Kung unsa imong gusto na salary, sir? Actually, no, dapat ikaw kasi alam mo na kung ano ang salary ng posisyon, alright? Test din 'yan. Ako ha, ang sagot ko niyan, professional and personal experience ang share ko sa inyo. It's a catch, no? Catch 'yan siya. It's also a ploy to know whether kung halimbawa ito lang ang pay ko, will you still continue to work, no? Or apply in the company? Because dapat alam mo na kung ano ang pay for the position prior to your application. That's your responsibility, no? You have to know that. And knowing that is also your privilege, no? And if you think that the pay is not within the realm of your interest and within the realm of your standards, then you should not continue the application process. But the fact that you have reached the interview, I will presume, if I am the interviewer, I will presume that you have prior knowledge about how much, especially if you are in the government, no, if you're applying for the government, because sa government kasi nakasulat talaga yan, no, required by civil service yan kung ano ang salary standard. Well, in some private companies, they're not, no, explicitly announced, but you have way of knowing that, no. When you apply, when you submit the application and you have prior knowledge about the position, then you can ask the HR of how much is the salary for the position, no. And what if you will be asked, no, about salary, what salary you wish to receive? Kung ako ang magsagot niyan, I don't think that salary is important. I mean, it's important, but if you're going to ask me, I would say that ganito ang gawin ko, no? Pakonsensyahin ko ang company because the fact that you exist, the fact that you were granted permit and recognition by the government to operate, therefore, you adhere to the requirement of the position of the government. So I would say that how much salary you wish to receive. My response would be, I believe that the company has complied their minimum standards set by the government, particularly by the Department of Labor and Employment. But what is more important to me right now is that I will be given an opportunity to practice what I have learned, no, from years of education in the university. And I also believe that if I will deliver beyond what is expected of me, I believe that the company or the organization will not hesitate to pay what is due for me. O, di ba? So, magpasabot, ikaw yung tao na, ikaw yung aplikante na hindi basta-basta, di ba? Aware ka, fully aware ka of your privileges and what deserves, no? Or ano ang deserve nimo na ma-receive. You know what I mean? Okay? So, ganun lang. Do not say any figures because it's going to be a take. It's going to be a catch. Kung sasabihin mo 15,000, what if we're giving less than that or higher than that? You will not pursue, you will not continue, o di ba? So pakonsensyahin mo na alam nila yung minimum requirement ng government. Importante dito is that may experience ka, no? Makagain ka na experience. And third, Kung halimbawa magaling ang performance mo, the company will not hesitate to pay you more, 'di ba? Some companies ask what do you do for fun or what are your hobbies and how can we respond to that question in a positive way. Okay, depende yan. Ikaw, anong hobbies mo? Ang punto kasi niyan is that meron kang ginagawa on your spare time. You know what I mean? So, hindi boring ang life mo, no? Especially if you are stressed, especially if you are tired, no? Especially if you're fed up. You have ways of coping, no? Your stress and your feeling of tiredness, no? If you are tired, you have way of coping it, no? So you have games, you have fun, you have sports and the like, no? That's the most important thing there. So don't, even if you go out for video okay with your friends, I mean, don't be shy of sharing that one because that's you, no? That's your way of coping your stress, coping your pressure, you know, recharging yourself because having fun with friends or going out with friends, going to karaoke, playing badminton, going to a gym are your ways of, de-stressing yourself. And don't be shy about it. No? Don't be shy of sharing those stuff. Okay? All right. No more question?
I think wala na, sir.
Okay. So I hope that you learned something. We will be seeing each other again for our component C. Benji will give you more instructions about it, no, when and what are the other things that you need to require to prepare, no. Okay.
That would be next week, sir.
All right.
June.
Okay.
O kasi summer kasi ngayon, so pas-pas na nga to ang pacing sa ating mga seminars. So after this, we'll have another session together with your coaches. So by the way, makita nyo man sa LMS, who are your coaches for Component DNC. Andun si Ma'am Iza and also si Ma'am May. And also, I'm also your coach. So depende dun sa mga codes ninyo. So for other instruction, sa inyong gagawin, you just visit the LMS, Blackboard LMS for information. So magpo-post lang kami doon with regards to the meeting and also ano yung mga ipapasa ninyo. So isa doon, yung sinabi ni Sir Ray kanina with regards to application letter and resume, so you're going to give or pass your application letter and resume. So you assume that you're already a graduate. Okay? So para makita natin ano yung mga ways ninyo in presenting your application letter and also your resume. So next week, June 28 will be your componency seminar. So yun yung sinabi kanina sa Ray that meron tayong mock interview na gagawin. Okay, so we will choose students dito sa webinar. So you will be interviewed by Sir Ray. So grab that opportunity, guys, so that you'll be able to practice your communication skills and also your confidence. No? No, kahit online lang tayo, so at least you'll have that enthusiasm to really answer the question well. So practice yan para sa atin, para sa inyo so that you'll be ready. So the next journey ninyo, pag mag-graduate kayo, you'll have now the confidence on how to answer questions for during the interview. Okay, so I think ipupush din natin yung sir, mock interview din natin. Yes, so you also have that mock interview. Okay, so and then July 6th will be your culmination day. So further announcement with regards to that, doon pa rin sa ating LMS. Okay, so I guess we're done with our session. Sir, meron pang isang question, sir.
Okay. For entry job without much credentials, what's your advice? That's why I already mentioned that while still in school, do something about it. You try to make an initial assessment and audit of yourself. If you don't have much experience right now, then what you can do is you can do volunteer work, participation in school activities because it will show teamwork, responsibility, your leadership ability, and the like, no? And later on, in your OJT, that can be counted also as an experience, no, your OJT experience, because as I said, don't be afraid if you're going to apply for future jobs, because you will not apply for positions that require much experience. In most cases, you will apply for jobs that are at the entry level, no, so which means that yeah, it's a given idea that you don't have much experience, but the thing there is that hindi din naman zero dapat ang inyong experience. Meron kayong mga exposures, because if you have these exposures, you have volunteer works, you have participated in school activities, it will give an impression that you are willing to learn. And if that's the case, I am the hiring officer, I will hire you. I will give you the chance, because it's easy to hire someone who is willing to learn rather than hiring those who are so experienced, because there's a saying that you cannot teach old dogs new tricks. You know what I mean? Okay. But as I said, hindi din pwede na nil, na zero. Okay? Dapat meron din kayo. Okay? Sige.
All right. So I think there are two students are now raising their hands. Allow natin sila ipatok. Okay lang ba?
Sige, okay.
Hey Edmond, you have follow-up question?
Edmond. Hi, Edmond. Introduce yourself. Edmond, you can unmute now your mic and switch on your camera so that we can see you.
Yes, Edmond, you have your question?
None so far, sir.
None so far, tapos sa Grace ka.
How about Edjuk Xylon? You have question, Xylon?
Na-press ko lang po, sir.
Na-top lang.
Okay.
How about Xylon?
Sus, ala, naklik lang na Kuya Wa. Hello.
Wrong. Well, anyways. Okay. Sige. Okay, I think wala na tang mga questions, no? So, other na lang you PM na lang your coaches. Now, for my coach, no, 11931 and 11930, please add me on your messenger, no, ng mga group chat, so that I can also give further instructions sa inyo. Okay, you can still join, no, sa second session later if you want to. And don't forget to have your screenshots, no, sa inyong mga kuan. Asa ato ang seminar karon, no, for attendance. So again, check your LMS for instruction with regards to attendance. I think that's it. Okay, thank you very much and God bless.